So in this video, I want to talk about the language that we use to narrate our grievances. It matters, That's why I said the rhetorics. Why the rhetorics matter? In the ancient times, one of the most important parts of your arsenal, the things you have to defend yourself, is also your rhetoric. So the way you are conveying your message, it matters a lot. It plays important role. So what we are seeing is a very huge problem. We are seeing a huge problem of killer herdsmen militia. So it's acknowledged internationally that there is a problem with herdsmen militia. You see, and these herdsmen militia are the fourth deadliest terrorist organization in the world. It is on record, herdsmen militia. You see, and we are reading from other countries within the West African sub-region that these herdsmen militia are on rampage, infiltrating lands and taking away the lives of the villagers. In fact, ransacking the whole place, cleansing the place ethnically. It is on record, So we have this problem. This is a valid point. Why can't our people stay on that and talk about herdsmen militia and talk about how the herdsmen militia want to use the issue of open grazing to infiltrate? What is the problem with that? What is this obsession with Fulani? What is this obsession? What is this obsession with Hausa Fulani, Janjaweed? What is this obsession? What is this obsession? I don't understand it, you see. And the rhetorics matter, because when you are talking about Fulani, you are talking about a complete ethnic nation. And this ethnic nation is widespread across West Africa, and they have a large population also in Nigeria. And you are talking about Fulani, and you are, sending all this vitriol about Fulani, and by so doing, you lose the narrative. You lose the point of your grievance. You make people not listen to your narration of what you are saying. And what are you supposed to be saying? You are supposed to be talking about herdsmen militia. Herdsmen militia are taking advantage of open grazing and infiltrating into rural dwellings, villages, ransacking villages and taking over the villages. And the people who are their villages have been taken over, they are still in IDP camps while the herdsmen are still there. This is a valid argument you can make, and you can always say it, and because you have the point, you can prove it, you can show it. There is a data, there is a statistic. Why can't you stay on that? You see? So my people, this is the point I am trying to make. You see, because when you attribute every crime, everything that is going on in the southeast, in the southwest to Fulani, you lose the narrative again, because the people who have been carrying cow across Nigeria, this is not the first time they are carrying cows. The people who are selling cows, who have been taking their cows from all across, this is not a recent issue. And the criminalities and the atrocities of people who commit crime has been going on in the southern part of Nigeria. It is not a recent thing. Talk about armed robbery, talk about even all this kidnapping, talk about ritual killings, just talk about any form of atrocity you want to talk about. It is not something that you can just single-handedly attribute to this, But because you are missing it up, you are missing the narrative. Because you are missing it up, you cannot contain yourself. You cannot contain, whatever bias you have in your heart. And you are missing the narrative. And your rhetorics is making you to be a target instead of you to be listening to people. Shut down. Nobody wants to listen to you because of your rhetorics. There is this narrative you are using, and when you stay on herdsmen militia, the fourth largest terrorist organization in the world, it is known. And then we have a problem that all of a sudden herdsmen are on rampage in Nigeria, across the south, from the middle belt, coming down to the south. It is a given, it is on record, it is known. And you can continue to talk about these herdsmen militia that have infiltrated the local herders. And then what can you do? What do you want to do? What is the solution you want? And then you can talk about the solution you want, and which is banning open grazing, because they are using the advantage of open grazing to infiltrate. And then the way the government is treating the whole thing, as if the government wants to compensate the people who have giving like who have come out openly to say we are the one responsible, we are the one retaliating. Government is behaving as if it wants to compensate them with land. You want to compensate them, and you can say, because of this example, this is not going to be allowed here. We don't have any problem with Fulani people, but this killer herdsmen must be stopped. These herdsmen militia that have taken the advantage of open grazing to infiltrate into the sub-region of Nigeria and going through the villages and going through the forest and destroying everything on their path. We don't want this. So as in a time like this, we don't want open grazing, because open grazing gives room for so much evil. Open grazing is even inhumane in this dispensation. This is a conversation, and this is a way you can convey this message, and everybody will buy into it, and it is something that nobody will shut you down because of it. Everybody will listen to it because you have your data. You are showing them what is going on. You can use what is happening in the Middle Belt, where the people who have been removed from their homes, removed from their villages, are in IDP camps, internally displaced people's camp, while the herders are still in their villages, and the military are powerless to do anything about it. And you can use that and say, okay, it is possible there are people who wants to take advantage of this open grazing to infiltrate and grab land in disguise as herders. And because of this, you don't want open grazing. We want people who we know who they are, who have a ranch somewhere and raising their cow and bringing their cow to the market for consumption purposes. What is the problem talking about it in this way? Why are you hating on a whole Fulani? Fulani, everybody just I don't like this. Fulani is there. It's almost like an obsession. Fulani. You cannot make any complete statement without Fulani. It is very, very wrong language to use. I just want us to understand, because when people are aggrieved and they are saying what they are saying, there is no problem with being angry. There's no problem with fighting your right, but the language you are using matters. How you convey that message, it matters. And if you don't convey it in a proper way, you lose the audience, the proper audience. You lose the audience. How you talk is even an art of war. How you talk is an art of war, because during war, there are people who are there also negotiating. There are people who are conveying message to and fro, and the language that is used during all this conversation determines what is going on in the battlefield. And I feel that somehow our elite and the people representing us, or the people who are very concerned about what is going on, are not using the right language. And because they're not using the right language, and they are not, it's like they are missing the plot, you see. And we have to keep in mind that we are the only people that have the large number of our people outside of our region. So we have to be conscious of the language we are using all the time. assuming that we have like 90% of our people in Igbo land, and you have maybe 5% outside of Igbo land within Nigeria, maybe another 5% outside of the country completely, you can be doing anything, because you know that the larger population is within the region, is protected, you see. But there is a hard line you cannot take when the situation and the condition that we are having, that is currently our reality in Nigeria, presents. You just have to understand where you are, how you are, whatever it is you believe in, whatever you want to get at, and the language you are using to convey your message, and the language you want to use to achieve your purpose. You see, so this is what I just want to share with you people, my people. It's not as if nobody understands what is going on. It's not as if nobody, you understand me, sees the problem that is going on. For example, I posted a post the other time, earlier on, two siblings, and they took a young lady. She's a makeup artist, and the lady now told her that she should come and do makeup. This lady just went to go and do makeup. Oh, that was how they just took her and give her something poisonous to drink. That was how they poisoned this lady. That was how they finished this lady. I'm telling you. And on top of it, where they now went to dump the lady, they still poured her acid. Two siblings, a brother and a sister, did this. Why I am thinking in my mind, I'm thinking that why would they have this hardened mind to do something like this? Because they believe that once they escape from the scene of the event, if they are able to dump the body and escape, that anybody that sees it is going to attribute it to somebody else, that it's never going to come back to them. This is evil that is going on. We know that the issue of crime is there. The issue of crime is there, and we know that why is crime prevalent? Because the people are poor. There is nothing for the people to eat. The people are poor. There is a lot of poverty, and the government representative, all they are doing is stealing money and using it to be buying cars and doing big lifestyle. And the people will go to church and hope that maybe help will come to church. They will say pay, sow a seed, sow another seed, sow a good seed, sow another seed. They will sow. The people will use it to buy aeroplane. They will use it to build big schools. They cannot go. So the people are not seeing any example of how to do anything. So there is desperation. Imagine Nigeria is the only country that doesn't give people any money at all, like welfare, not even essential commodity. Come in this place and take gari. So if you don't have something to eat, you don't have something to eat. So crime is prevalent, and because especially of this harsh economic reality, there is even more crime. So you don't know who is committing any crime anybody is committing, but you know for a fact that herdsmen militia are on rampage and are infiltrating the local herders and using this opportunity to take over farmlands and take over communities and cause havoc. This is something that is confirmed. You see, so when you stay on the topic and you continue to say it, and you even go humane and say it is even inhumane for you to allow somebody to be carrying cow at this time, you see, then you have something valid to say, and you are not profiling at this point because you have a legitimate concern, and you are tabling that concern because you want that solution. And so if the governors, for example, they say that they have banned grazing. For example, they have banned open grazing for the past 2 years. This is what the governors in the Southeast have said, But for a fact, we know that herdsmen problem is not, you cannot make the case that herdsmen problem is already pervasive in the Southeast, but we have the example in the Middle Belt where the whole thing has really gone haywire, and we know that a lot of people are in the IDP camps instead of going back to their villages. So you have the example there. You can always talk about it and say an example of what has happened here, it can easily be replicated here. And as being proactive, you don't want it to get to this point. This is my point, you see. So when you are talking about Fulani, 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 it is something else. Because sometimes some people will say, oh, but look at what is happening. Do you like what is happening? But the language you are using is not actually saying what is happening. The language you are using is like you hate everything Fulani. You want everything Fulani dead. Everything Fulani. You are just Fulani. But your problem is not Fulani. Your problem is killer herdsmen. Your problem is the herdsmen militia that are using the advantage of open grazing to come into villages, take over land, and occupy the land and attack the villages. This is your problem, not the whole Fulani. You see? So this is just what I want to say, my people. I just want you to know that the language you use matters. It matters a lot. And the earlier you understand that the language you use to portray your cause, it matters. It matters a lot, And the language you use, for example, we are talking about Biafra. Okay, everybody's talking about Biafra. All of a sudden, do you see how the narrative changed? No, there's nothing about Biafra again. It's now S-Man, it's now ESN, it's now this one. So what exactly is it that you are talking about again? You see? So it's like somebody that is swimming and all of a sudden is drowning. He's trying to hold on to anything. And then you say, oh, this one is herdsman, you hold it. Hey, this one, Yoruba people, they are betrayer, you hold it. Hey, this one, hey, this government, you hold it. Because all these things have started before Buhari even came into power. This herdsman problem did not start today. This herdsman problem is the reason why even President Jonathan went to the north and be building school, because President Jonathan was thinking about stopping this open grazing, making them to be stationary, stay in one place, let the children go to school. This is the Amajiri school we are talking about. This is his approach. He was building school. He doesn't want them to be moving up and down. This is his own approach. And President Jonathan actually released money for them to go and do ranching. He released money to all these governors that were there. Where is the money? They did not do any ranching for the cow. So for some reason, so it is not a recent issue. So anybody that makes you think that this is just something that is happening now, but right now you have to understand that this thing is political, and so you have to tailor your narrative and stay on the point that you are making. You see? So the person that is telling you about Biafra is telling you about Biafra. Remember, before the election of 2015, it was saying Biafra is going to come. In fact, we may not even wait before 2015. And by that time, we'll burn everything down. Nothing will remain. Everything will be finished. And then after that, he now told them they should go and vote. Everything has been signed, sealed, and delivered. Okay, after that, election happened. And Jonathan was defeated. And that another one, since that time. So now election is coming again. This is the time you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to do to organize for the upcoming election. Because whether you are preparing or you are not preparing, election will come, election will pass. The people, whether they were elected, whether they were selected, they will enter that place and you will continue crying. Why don't you take a part and be part of the kingmaker? Why don't you leave all these, hyped rhetorics now that is just there to cause commotion and distract you? Huh? Now it's now chasing cow, giving cow 11 days, giving cow 12 days, giving cow how many cow? This is now your own problem. Is this really the problem now? Is this really the problem? You understand me? So the grievance is legitimate. And do you know, even the anger and the bitterness in the heart of our people because of the exclusion from the Nigerian government, from the marginalization, it is all legitimate. It is called politics of resentment, because you know you have been excluded, maligned. You resent this government, you resent everything about it. It is a legitimate type of politics that is actually recognized internationally. It's called politics of resentment, and that politics of resentment is like somebody is crying out and saying, I'm angry because I've been neglected, I've been maligned, and I want to be visible. I am here, I want to be a part of this. You understand? But the problem we are having is that we are talking about secession, and we are basing it on the things that you are actually supposed to use to fight for inclusion. Because when you are fighting for when you are resenting the government on any basis, what you are actually looking for is your own dignity, is your your own upliftment, your own inclusion. Like you want an inclusive government that includes Igbo people, that includes Igbo people and Igbo region in their projects in the country, and gives Igbo people the same treatment he gives other people, and treats the Igbo people with the law the same way it treats people from other parts of the country. These are arguments people make when you are making argument for inclusion. But the problem we're having is we are modeling up everything. So are you fighting for inclusion? Are you fighting for secession? So if you want to fight for secession, for example, you are going to stay on the reasons why you are looking for secession and stay on it. And for example, the whole world wants to hear, how is Nigeria marginalizing you? What exactly is going on? Do you have representation in the Nigerian politics? And what is wrong? How exactly is Nigeria marginalizing you and excluding you? And these are the things you want to detail and say, because of this, we want out of this union. But what you hear is, oh, look, they have appointed generals in the military, no Iboma, so we are not doing again. We are going on. And if you look at all the time that the cry for Biafra has been more, has always been a fallout of an election. So we Nigerian people came into this dispensation of democracy, in 1999. So 1998, they started forming the political parties, and everything was going well. It was like it was supposed to be a Kweme. Although I was very young at the time, I don't really know, I didn't really pay attention. But I still remember that Kweme was very gray-haired, and I remember when they were having that PDP convention, and for some reason, I don't know whatever happened, Kweme was not given the ticket for PDP, and Obasanjo got the ticket, and I don't know who was the other party. I don't remember very well. The Olufalaye was the other one, Then I was in the university. I remember very well because I voted in that election. So, what am I even saying? At that time, we have just come out of military rule and going into this transition, because Abudu Salami was there and he was doing this transition. He wants to transition into democracy. And so at the end of that election, we participated completely. And at the end of that election, what did we see? This okay, Igbo people are maligned, Igbo people don't have anything. That was how Zurike started his own. So if you are looking at it, you see that it's an election fallout. You are not happy with the outcome of the election, and this is how you are reacting to the election fallout. This is my own interpretation. You can have your own interpretation, but this is my own interpretation. So, and after that election, then Yar'Adua came, and then after Yar'Adua came, Yar'Adua had Jonathan, and so Yar'Adua was balanced, even though he was ill, there was no sentiment that things are not, bad for our people or all those things. So you didn't really hear so much about, even though Wazurike was thriving in the southern region at that time, it was not a national thing, it was a regional thing. It was causing a lot of problems, and there was a lot of things going on with Mossab and all those things, And then what happened? Then Jonathan was eventually installed as president. So, of course, a lot of people from the northern part, they were not happy with that outcome. And so we have seen how they reacted with Boko Haram and all those things, and insecurity. So at the end of the day now, Jonathan now did the election, and he didn't go through. And before I forget, during Jonathan's time, there was this man that was just released from prison just this last week. Yeah, he went to hijack the radio station in Enugu and declare Biafra. Zionist movement. I keep forgetting this movement, Biafra Zionist movement or something like that. Do you know that it didn't even it was like nothing happened? Why? Because it was seeming that at the center, things are looking good. The people are optimistic about the political, aspiration of people and all those kind of a thing. So this happened. It was a big deal. These guys, they went to Enugu, they took the radio, they declared Biafra. Jonathan promptly arrested all of them and charged them for treason and put them in jail. No fools, nothing. Whether anything happened, no, everybody just, it didn't concern anybody. Everybody just, but what happened? Again, election fallout. You see, so there's something that happens when election doesn't go your way, especially this winner takes all election that we do here in Nigeria. For example, a very good recent example is what happened in the US. So the election went, for example, Trump supporters did not accept that outcome. We saw what happened. It can happen to anybody. It can happen to any race of people. It is not because you are black or because you are Igbo, or it is the sentiments that has been attached, long-term sentiment that have been attached to all these things, and the language that is being used to explain this thing to people. You see, so at the end of the day, there was no going forward for Jonathan, and Buhari came in with APC, and this was like a meltdown. Everybody just kind of went haywire. And even the person that was talking about, in fact, there will be no election in 2015. In fact, we are going to burn that country down. Everything will go down. What did he see now? He hashed onto that. And what happened? Buhari now went to arrest him. Before you know it, there was a lot of support. Why should he arrest him? Why would they arrest him? Everybody went onto the street, free the leader, free him. You see? And this is, you need to follow the projection of something and see where it is coming from. So at the end of the day, we are talking about secession, and we are grieving about inclusion at the same time. Only us, only Igbo people. And at the end of the day, we see that it's also Igbo people that are in charge of the Igbo region, not outsiders. And again, we have representatives in the House of Assembly in Abuja. We have representatives in the Senate, So the problem is everybody's looking at us and they don't understand what is going on. Okay, if you want secession, then why is it not something that is being discussed in the parliament by your representatives? You don't stay on the fringes and make this kind of argument. You don't stay in your little bubble here and there. Everybody have their small bubbles here and there. It is not affecting anything. Nobody knows about it. But if you want it to be a national issue, then by all means make it a national issue and bring it into the National Assembly and bring it into the Senate and let it be a topic of discussion. And how do you want to go about it? You feel helpless. You say, oh, you cannot do anything. You cannot do anything. They put the stooge. They select the people there. But why is it possible for them to select people? You feel you don't have any role you are playing, why it is possible to select people like that? Because we now have a value system that only celebrates money. People who steal money by any means and crook and cranny, they will steal any money, they flaunt it before you. You want them as your leaders, and those people, they are going to continue to steal more because this is what you want to see in them. So you feel powerless because everybody wants to steal, everybody wants to outsmart the other, everybody wants to get one thing or the other out of the people. And the people that go into politics, maybe they are not the right person, but they have enough money to give and give and give and pay through their way. And of course, at the end of the day, when they get into office, they need to recover their money first of all. And so you see a situation, for example, there is this brother Okulora. He's going to regions in Anambra, in Oka, not even in very remote places. Look at, they don't even have water they are drinking, they don't have anything, you know. And the guy is bringing it to the limelight because election is about to take place, and there are people who will still go to these communities and give them 1,000, give them 2,000, and they will put the vote for them. You see? And at the end of the day, the same status quo remains. Then the people who they have given them money, they will continue to be there in Abuja, quote unquote, that they are representing you, but they are just recovering their money and their wealth and their luxury. They don't care about you. So you think you have a power, you have the initiative that you want to go to the central government and change power. You want to go to the national government and change everything about how Nigeria is working, but you are so powerless to change whatever is going on in your region. You are so powerless. I don't, like, honestly, I really want somebody to explain this thing to me. You cannot circumvent any situation in your local government, in your state government, in your rural area, but you want to go to Abuja to change the situation and the running of things. And you really believe this is possible? If somebody would really explain this logic to me, I would really like to learn. I would really like to understand what they mean by this narrative that they are powerless, all those people, they are stooge, they have been chosen, it is in the federal government, that is where we have to change it. You have to change it. You know, it can go both ways. It can go both ways. You are in Abuja, you know, there is, when the saying is going that if the prophet cannot go to the mountain, if the mountain cannot go to the prophet, then the prophet have to go to the mountain. But no, we just concoct theories and sit by it, my way or high heaven. This is what everybody is doing. So my people, the language you use, it matters a lot. So what you have to do is, what exactly it is that you are looking for. Tailor your narrative accordingly. Tailor the language you are using accordingly, and let it match with what you are saying, and stay on it. You can expand that argument based on what you already say. Don't deviate from it. Don't leave that thing and start attacking religion and saying Islam, Islamization, Islam. Nobody listens to anybody that is against anybody based on their religious beliefs. So you need to leave that religion out of your conversation and stay on your grievance, which is a legitimate grievance. That herdsmen militia are using the opportunity of open grazing to infiltrate into our rural areas and exterminating villages and taking over their land. And you have examples of where it has happened completely, and you have examples of lands and villages that have been attacked and people cannot go to farm, and it is going to bring food insecurity, and people are going to die of hunger, and there is no food, and the seed yams and the seedlings for the next year's crops are going missing, and people don't have seed yams and seed and stems to replant, and they will have to go and buy from maybe what they call these people biotechnology, and when you buy from biotechnology, you know you cannot replicate it. So when you buy, you grow it, that is the end. For you to plant again, you have to go and buy, whereas the one we have, you can use it and reuse it. If you throw orange out, it's going to grow. You throw mango out, it's going to grow. You use yam, you put it in the ground, it will grow back. But you see this one that is genetically manipulated, it doesn't happen like that. If you cut it, it is over. You see, if you take it out, that is it. You have to buy new seed there for you to plant again. So this is narrative that is very, very legitimate, and you have to put your leg on the ground and stay there and say, for this reason, you don't want this. And then you see that the things will take a different narrative. And then all this show of bragando on the internet, and show of bragando on the internet. What for? What for? Is there any wisdom in that? What is all this thing you are doing and showing yourself? Are you the only one that have access to internet in the whole world? At the end of the day, we see that if it is a question of having good water and having good road and having a better life, good education in general, what is stopping it from happening now? For example, the center is faulty. How can you give money to a governor to do something, and you don't check the person, whether the person cannot come back to you and say, I did this, I did that, and there's no mechanism to check it? Fine, okay, if we believe that we are going to do better for ourselves, why are we not doing better for ourselves now? Where is that excellence? Where is that good infrastructure that we are capable of providing? Why are we not providing it the little we can? For example, in the regions, every region of Nigeria is being governed by indigenes and citizens of those regions, but everybody is having the same effect, the same impact of corruption, the same negligence, the same rot, including the north, that the elite of the north has been holding the power for generations. Everybody is suffering the same thing. So what is going on is the system that is in place. We have not brought our own system. The system that is functioning in Nigeria right now is the system of the colonial masters. Because when the colonial masters came, their intent was not to develop your country or develop the region. They only was interested to take the resources, to take any benefit they want to take and take it back to their country. And that is why they will build good housing in their GRA where they live, government reserve area. That's where they live, just like the standard they live in Europe. And they live affluently, the roads are tarred, the conditions are top. This is how it is. And then they will build beautiful road to the airport, and then they will build a beautiful road to the sea, to the port, to the sea. But for the normal people, there was actually no plan for the cities. The cities just kind of sprawls. This one built has the other one not built, and now build, sprawling cities, and no design of, maybe say, okay, a central system, water will go through this way, and all these things. So you understand what I'm saying? So that is why now the colonial master left, and we kept that system of the colonial master, and so the system is not there to deliver dividends to the people, but to take from it for themselves. And this is what our politicians are doing. They have to take for themselves and take for their families and make sure that they live in affluence. They look at how people live in Europe, how governors, for example, presidential palace, they build it for themselves. They look at how House of Assembly looks like, how Senate looks like, how they build it for themselves, not minding whether they have the resource, whether they have the capacity, whether they have the technology, whether they have the means. You see, so it's all about, for example, all the millions that Nigeria is making is actually catering for only people who work with government, who are in the civil service, and they have this huge remuneration system. They'll give you house, give you car, pay for allowance. This is what the colonial system was. It was about repaying the people who work for the colonial, for the queen or for the government, something like that. Pay, because it was a huge colonial service was like a military service for people who came to do it. So the government paid for all their utilities, paid for their housing, paid for all their allowances. This is what is transferred. That's why you see top civil servants, they have everything. They have house, all paid for by the government, their school. They are living affluent just by being civil servants, you see. But what we need is our own system. our own system, that we have to think about our own system. But up till now, we don't have that mental rigor. We have not developed that have that capacity to sit down and think out a system, or maybe use our own traditional system and incorporate new things into it and make it our system of government, so that it will be suitable to ourselves, and so it will be tailored towards development. You see. So this is what we're supposed to be doing from the sub-region, for example, so that we can centralize the systems we have in Igbo land, for example, and find how to make the resources to go through to everybody, so that everybody will get a share. Because originally, for example, in our region, everybody had land that they could farm on. For example, it was a very important resource. Everybody was a farmer, so you could farm your own land until you have your own food, you see. But now this colonial system is what is going on, and because the system is not designed to cater for the people, it was designed to cater for the explorers, the exploiters. This is why the government is not delivering, because they are just what you would call the neo-colonizers. So our leaders, our representatives in government are just neo-colonizers, whether by chance or by intention or not, but this is the system that they have right now, and this is what they are doing. They don't even know it. They may not know it, or they know it, or all those kind of a thing. So first of all, everything is political. So the political aspiration and the political standing of a country will determine the well-being of the people that live in it. So if there is no political stability, if there's these political systems that are not tailored to deliver dividend of whatever government has to the people will suffer regardless. And this is the reason why no African country is doing well, because they have not used their own system. All our system is copied, is borrowed. We don't have our own. Our own is not functioning. We don't have our system. Our system that we used before the colonial masters came. For example, we can take part of the system that was good and use it to think out a system that will work for us. But right now, we don't have our own system. For example, the Chinese, they have their own system. Their own system, in fact, it was even Chinese people that started meritocracy. It's not even Europeans. It's Chinese people that started meritocracy, that you have to have the merit, strictly on merit, your ability to deliver. Merit, just on merit, regardless of who you are, who born you. At the time that Europeans were still doing kingdoms, you understand me, they are still using king and blood and line of birth and all those things. Chinese people have been doing meritocracy, and it was easy for them to hatch up on that system because it was inherent, it was part of theirs. And so once you can build it, whatever, it was yours, and you can go from there, you see. So regardless of what has happened, you have to find a way to work and build a system for yourself and come out of the trouble that whatever you are going through. When you don't have an inherent system, that you want to go from where you are into, you understand me? You don't have a system of your own, that your fight is to take the situation out to that other system. Everybody's looking at you like, okay, what is the fuse here? Because it's like you want to replicate another Nigeria here. Because obviously all the problems in Nigeria are going to be a splinter group of a smaller mini Nigeria here. Because it's still going to be a multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and multi-ethnic society, just like it is still in Nigeria. And then you now have a smaller group of people, and you now have to be dealing with that small group of people, and maybe dealing with their leader. And it's very, very easy for that small group of country to have a despot who will hold on to power and hold on to the people and all this kind of a thing. Whereas it is easy for the world powers to deal with a bigger country and all those kind of a thing. And the funny thing is, the African countries that are small, they actually blame the Europeans that they split their countries into small, less powerful, groups that cannot amount to anything, that cannot do anything, that has to tailor all their needs to France, because they were kind of splintered into small ineffective group. There was this lady that used to work with the African Union. She talked about the IMF and Africa, and how they are kind of dealing with African nations, the way they borrow money. And she made one of the points she made is this notion that it was deliberate, that they splintered the African nations into small, tiny, ineffectual countries that it was easy for them to hold on to. You see, so today, as Nigeria is right now, you have to understand that it is working for the power where they rule this world. It is okay for them, So if you want to get something out of this system, you don't want Nigeria, for example, you want to have your own country, then you have to find the argument for that. You cannot be using the argument for inclusion into Nigeria to be talking about secession. You see, so if you want to talk about secession, then you have to find a way to stay on that secession, and the secession story has to become centric. It's not something that anybody will go and form an association and be doing association of secession, another association of secession. Anyway, this is just how I see it. So my people, language matters, and the way you convey the message you want to send is also very, very important, and it matters, you see. So yeah, let us learn to use the right language, let us learn to send the right message, and let us know how to tailor our grievances properly, so that we'll get the audience that we want and we desire, and hopefully for the best for everyone involved. So thank you so much, my people. This is so much that I can say, and I will see you in another video in another time. I don't know when yet. So bye for now. I'll see you soon.